this deck has 3 cards we have to look at, to be honest, guys. Who can guess? I'll give you guys some time to guess which cards. One we've already gone over, you know, hint, hint, Mamoragan. And then what do you think the other 2 cards are we have to talk about here? First up, since we're already talking about purple, we're going to move over to Sakazuki. I don't think this card should be banned, but I'm going to be honest. I think that Bandai kind of goofed with this card in some ways. I think they have the effects backwards. I actually think that this Sakazuki card should have had the on-play effect that required your leader to be Navy, and then the activate main effect wouldn't matter what your leader was. I actually think that's how it should have been. Because the Dawn -1 negative 6,000 effect, that is actually very, you know, that is incredibly powerful. Whereas the activate main effect to ramp a Dawn, that's not actually as strong in most decks once you get to this point in the game. Once you already have 7 Dawn, okay, what's 2 more Dawn, right? And yes, I understand purple can move Dawn around, blah, 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 I get it. But here's the thing, I think they kind of reversed the effects there, but either way, that would not matter because the leader in this case is Purple Yellow Rosinante in the deck we're looking at, so they'd be able to use either effect regardless. Now, this card right here we go again with purple having the most unbelievable power reduction I've ever seen. Understand that this minus 6,000 power effect does not last until the end of your turn. It lasts until the end of your opponent's next turn. This is an incredibly powerful effect. And this was intended for Sengoku, obviously. And here we go again. This card, in conjunction with Mamoragan, is allowing you to just rest down basically any card in the game, with a few exceptions, right? Maybe a 12 or 13,000 power character. There's only one 13,000 power character to really you know, that you would even have to worry about in this game, and it would be the purple Goldie Roger, because the red Goldie Roger has Rush, and they would already get to attack. But yeah, this Mamoragan card plus Sakazuki, absolutely disgusting, right? Absolutely incredible power level on this, everything going on here. It's a little bit much. It is a little bit much, and I think it's really starting to dictate how this game is going to go. So I can see people's argument for Mamoragan wanting to be the card to be banned. Again, I'm not necessarily advocating for that, but I can see where this could be a problem in the future for sure. And I think what it comes down to is these incredibly powerful power reduction effects. And this is what I was trying to talk about when we were talking about how a lot of cards within black were removed from the game that had all of the cost reduction. Bandai likes when there are cost reduction effects that go off of cost-based, you know, removal, right? But within reason. And that's why Bandai still allows for us to have a few decent cost minus effects, like, for example, the 3-cost Hina, that's actually very strong. The 3-cost, 5,000 power Hina, Navy card, no counter, on play, give one of your opponent's characters minus 4 cost for the turn. We lost Ice Age, of course, and a few other cards, like I think even Great Eruption's gone now. I think that card rotated out anyway. But let me just say this. Bandai stopped printing as much cost reduction as they used to, and they even toned down on the cost-based removal stuff, linking a lot of it to base cost removal. Instead of just full-on cost removal, they made a lot of it base cost removal. And honestly, if they could retroactively fix this card, I think what I wish Bandai could do is actually change the main effect to say something like main, Dawn -2, draw 1 card, then rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a base power of 6,000 or less. And yes, I mean 6,000 instead of 5, because then they can't manipulate it with incredibly powerful cards like Gamma Knife, even the Lightning Beast Chitin, and things like that. I just think it's a little bit too much. But yeah, that's just me. That's just my personal opinion. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Maybe this card should just be locked to something like, what's it called? I'm sorry, something like NL. Or another option that they could do is maybe they can make it where Mamoragan can be pair banned with a card like Sakazuki or Gamma Knife. Where now, okay, yes, you can run Mamoragan or you can run Gamma Knife. You can't run both, though. Maybe that's something they can do. We have seen Bandai mess around with these ideas before, where, for example, right now, the next card we're about to talk about is Borsellino. And with this card, you cannot run Borsellino with a card named Iris Quasar Help, because they were just deemed too powerful together. They could not exist in the same deck. It was just too strong. That's what Bandai determined. Well, if that's the case, then maybe Bandai needs to make another ban and restriction effect like that, or ruling like that, where Mamoragan cannot be included in the same deck as a card named Sakazuki, right? And if that's the case, then we do have Mamoragan still being used in Purple Enel, which is what it was mainly intended for, but at the same time, maybe they could make another exception where you just can't have Mamoragan, Sakazuki, or Gamma Knife in the same deck existing together. Where in other words, you basically have to choose between the three. If you want to run one of those three, you have to pick one. You can't include multiples of each, right? You can only just run Sakazuki, or just run Mamoragan, or just run Gamma Knife. Maybe that would be a decent fix for things moving forward. Okay, again, I'm going to drop it on the purple stuff for now. Tell me what you guys think in the comments section below. Now, moving over to yellow, we're going to start on Borsalino since this card is already up right here in this deck list. This card's just incredibly powerful, guys. Obviously, we've all known that for quite some time. And this is a card that probably more than likely should have been locked specifically to Egghead leaders, and then I think it would have just been completely fine. And I think most people would agree with that. Then there wouldn't have been any issues. But as it stands and as the card is written right here, it's not. So we just don't have that option, right? It is what it is. And this card right here, let me say this. Borsalino, and now we are going to move to another deck. Let me go backwards real quick. We're going to go to Blue-Yellow Nami. This is perfect. Or even Blue-Yellow Bow is a good example. Yeah, we're going to use Nami for now. There are too many ways to gain life now on your opponent's turn, I think. And also, some of these cards that gain life are just simply too cheap. That's my biggest problem. I was the biggest advocate for giving yellow more life gain. Well, this is not what I meant. This is not what I meant. And when I say this, I'm referring to, of course, to Roronoa Zoro and the 5-cost Borsalino. These extremely cheap life gain effects that can also be used from your trash, by the way, with certain effects like Gecko Moria and Rayquaza Help that they already had to pair ban with Borsalino. That there is probably an issue moving forward for the game. And let's step back a little bit. I want to also mention another thing that actually would fix this entire thing, I think, right away, and it would allow Bandai to even unban Rayquaza Help. I think, this is just my personal opinion, guys, I think on-play effects should only be able to be activated on your turn. I think you should only be able to use an on-play effect if you're the active player. Like, well, let me say that differently, if it is your turn, okay? Now, we have seen effects in the past that say, your turn, on play, do this. I honestly think that should just be the default. And I think that Bandai should build triggers around that understanding. Like, for example, with all these triggers that have on KO effects, well, they wouldn't be affected by that anyway, right? Even if we go back to, like, OP03 with the 3-cost 5,000 power Parasparrow, that had an on KO do a top 3 search for a Big Mom Pirates card. That is how I think it should be balanced. And if you actually look at Black Yellow Gecko Moria cards, I should say, not the leader, but even most of these cards would not be affected, like Dr. Hogback has an on KO. Now, the Perona would be affected, but I think it would be for the better, because then you can't pull this card out of your trash to shut down your opponent's attacks on their turn. And this is a hot topic for me, and like personally, this is a touchy topic for me. I do like when there is some interaction that can be done on your opponent's turn. However, within reason. I don't think that we should just be able to have an entire turn on our opponent's turn where we're shutting down our opponent's attacks and we're gaining life and things like that, like, you know, with the 4-cost Zoro and stuff like that, and before the 5-cost Borsalino with Rayquaza Help. I think that's going too far. And again, this is just my personal opinion. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. But I don't think that is healthy for the game. Now, don't get me wrong, cheating out a character on your opponent's turn would still be very, very powerful. Playing out this Zoro might not be as powerful as it was before if we could not activate on play effects on our opponent's turn. However, there are cards that would be good still to play out on our opponent's turn, like this Marco, or even this Borsalino. If we could, it just wouldn't gain the life, which I think would be kind of fine. I think that would actually be completely fine. That's just me, though, guys. I would like to know what you guys have to say about that. Now, going back to life gain in general. I am okay when a 7-cost or higher character gains life. That is where I draw a line, a threshold, whatever you want to call it. That is where I think that characters, let me emphasize, character effects I don't think should gain life until you're dealing with a 7-cost, 8,000 power body like this right here, with this Nico, Robin, or these 8-cost options here with Gecko, Moria, and Teach, or if it was like a 10-cost option, of course. Other than that, if it's going to be on a body, like, let's just look at Zoro. So I already have something planned to talk about in the future, guys, in one of my future Talk videos. I don't think that Bandai is properly gauging how good an effect is. For example, a normal vanilla character, and we're going to, excuse me guys, I will talk about this more in a future video, but a normal vanilla character is a 4-cost, 6,000 power character with a 1k counter, okay? Well, generally what Bandai does is they'll go, okay, let's make a powerful effect on this character, we'll remove a 1k counter and give them an effect. Well, in the case of this Zoro here, the effect is gain a life. How is this still a 4-cost, 6,000 power character, right? And that becomes my question. And I've had questions even before this with like cards like Kikanojo. When this card came out in OP06, guys, and there's a reason it's still being used to this day. If you look at most of the cards in this deck, other than cards like Kingdom Come, Gravity Blade, Raging Tiger, and maybe Hiyori, all the other cards in this deck are like cutting edge, brand new. I'll call them power crept cards. I don't like to use that term very often, but I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. Most of the other cards in the game just can't really keep up with this new stuff. Well, Kikanojo, Hiyori, and then, like I said, the 2 events down here behind my camera, those have made it all the way up till now, but everything else has kind of been power crept past, quote unquote, and I get that, but this card Zoro, let me stay back on this, guys. I don't want to get too sidetracked with what I was saying about Kikanojo. I just thought this card was a little bit too strong even when it came out back in OP06, and that is one of the reasons why I think it's still good to this day in a lot of different yellow decks. But this Zoro right here is like the next evolution in that card, right, as far as power level goes. Because honestly, if I were to try to balance a card in this game, let me take a step back from the characters for just a second. If I were trying to balance this, a card like this in this game, it would be like a 4-cost, 3,000 power character, probably still with a 1k counter and with that on play effect. So in other words, if you're going to have a very cheap character gain a life, well then I think it should be nowhere near this power level. And what I'm arguing is this. I think that Bandai actually undervalues how strong some of these effects are. And they've been doing that for a while, right? Did we not just literally look at, hang on, where are we at here? Let me go to Borsalino. We just talked about this card. And honestly, we can talk about this Nami as well. This card is unbelievably powerful. I mean, just like actually unbelievably powerful, right? I don't understand the logic there. That's up to Bandai, right? There's nothing we can really do about that. But hear me out. This effect is unbelievable. A vanilla character would be a 5-cost, 7,000 power character with a 1k counter. Well, this card said, okay, we'll take away 1,000 power, and then we'll allow this character to remove a life from your opponent and gain a gain a rested Dawn card to your leader. All for just minus 1,000 power, and that's only one effect. Then there's also an on-KO effect that can allow you to refill the board if this character gets removed. So it's one of those things where I am curious as to what Bandai is thinking. I'm very actually perplexed in a lot of ways at like how they decide how much each one of these effects costs, right, or the value of them. Okay, so finally, let me wrap up one more time here on Zoro. I'm hoping that moving forward, I would like to see, I mean, I don't know how they're going to be able to do it now, guys. You can't, like, change the past kind of thing, and now here we are, right? I actually think that paying 3 for an event to gain a life would have actually been pretty acceptable. So in other words, you pay 3, you use the event, so you're basically going -1 with a card from your hand, and then you're gaining a life on an event, not on a character. I think that's a pretty balanced effect. Maybe pay 4 at the most. However, to pay 4, develop a 6,000 power body, and gain a life, what are we doing here? What's going on? This is that's a bit much. Would you guys agree? Tell me what you guys think in the comments section below. And one last thing I will say on yellow and just every color in general, events like this are just, I feel like they're just starting to disappear, because why would you run an event like this when you could just run a character that, you know, basically shuts down a character for the turn, like something like this Mr. 3 Galdino. This is another card, I just simply don't understand its existence. Think about it, guys.
I murdered that thing. You fucking came up to the screen.
Okay,
what the hell?
You have 4 cards in hand, and then you immediately use the activate main. You go up to 6 cards in hand, and you shut down an attack for the turn, which will save you a card on that future attack or multiple cards. It's just, it's unreal, right? Yeah, it's just very, very interesting. Why is this a character? why isn't this an event that's just pay 4 and do this effect, and then they lose the 1-2 counter, which I think could bounce the card a bit more. I don't know. Again, tell me what you guys think. And again, just to summarize, I think Bandai is not using events properly. They're just making characters that have the effects that should be on an event. But then in the process, you know, you would think, okay, well, if we're going to have this type of effect on a character, we're going to make this into a 4-cost 2,000 power character. Nope. Instead, it's going to get the Zoro treatment, where we have this effect that probably would be worth 4 Dawn anyway for an event, but we're going to tack on a 6,000 power body on top of it. Not the most healthy direction for the game in the future, in my personal opinion. Okay, so as far as yellow goes, so we talked about purple. I can imagine some bans going on there with either Mamoragan or Gamma Knife, or even Sakazuki, or pair banning them in some way. Not ban Sakazuki, but pair banning them in some way where you cannot combine them. Well, for yellow, that one is tricky. I don't even know what to say, guys. Bandai's just gone crazy with some of these characters now. We already knew about that with Borsalino. Zoro's here now. And then cards like Gecko, Moria are being set up in your life to pull these cards back with the 4-cost cards, of course, and just get insane value from there, where you're gaining life on your opponent's turn. But I think there's a way moving forward that Bandai could fix yellow. And I think the best way to do it would be for Bandai to retroactively, I guess is the best way to say it, implement a rule into the game that says characters can only activate on-play effects on their turn, unless an effect says otherwise, right? And I think that would actually fix a lot of problems, because yellow gaining life on their turn, people get upset about that, but I think that's pretty reasonable. That is their entire gimmick, right, is gaining life. However, when your opponent starts to gain life on your turn, like when you're starting to gain life on your opponent's turn, that's a bit much. I think that could be very, very unhealthy for the game. And in fact, we know that's unhealthy for the game because we already saw what happened with Iroquois's help with Borsalino. And I think that it's actually a relatively easy fix, at least in some ways. I'm not saying it would fix everything, but if Bandai would say, you know what, guys, moving from this day forward, on-play effects can only resolve on that player's actual turn, not on the opponent's turn, however they want to word that properly. Okay, so that's it for yellow. Now we're going to check out a few other colors. I think some of the other colors are actually pretty well balanced. We will look at a green-blue Luffy deck real quick, just to bring up some of the green stuff in there. We already talked about some blue stuff with Mr. 3 Galdino. Honestly, we will talk about more of that. We'll talk about these events in a second as well. So for blue, I mentioned this in a previous video not too long ago. Actually, it might have been on my stream. It might have been on stream, guys. I still stream on Mondays for those who might be wondering. Mondays on YouTube, I stream from 9 p.m. Eastern to 12 a.m. every Monday. Okay, be sure to check that out and hang out with us if you didn't already know that. If you want to, I can't believe this card was printed. The more I thought about it. So think about this, guys. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power character with a 1K counter. Okay, the stats are already decent. Well, what does it do? Well, on play, it draws you a card if your leader's impelled down. Okay, well, at least it's locked to impel down in that regard. So now you're going to draw a card to replace itself immediately, and then you're going to cheat out a 6,000 power character. For those who are not aware, the card that it cheats out is right. Where is it? Here it is. It's this Prisoner of Impel Down card that allows you to have as many copies of this card as you want to run in your deck, so you can run more than 4, so you can see this card more consistently to cheat out with cards like this Buggy. And so think about what this card's doing. You're paying 5 for a 6,000 power character and another 6,000 power character while drawing a card, and then turning the 6,000 power character you cheated out into a blocker on your opponent's turn.
Shit is retarded.
That is wild, guys. I'm not saying this card should be banned. I'm just saying
Thankfully,
that we've really come quite some ways, guys, when it comes to how powerful cards can be. That's all I'm going to say on that. But that card in particular is interesting. But I will say this. As far as cards that I could see maybe receiving some type of attack, but probably not, would be like this Mr. 3 Galdino. Like I said earlier, guys, I don't see a downside of running this card. I think if you're running any blue deck moving forward, you just run 4 of these. Why wouldn't you?
God,
because again, you play this card out for 4, and if you're playing against a deck that has no removal, well, now you get to attack for 5, and then use the activate main on your next turn, basically, right? So you're paying 4, and there's a 1K counter on this card, by the way. Just like I forgot to mention that. Even this card has a 1K counter, by the way. This Buggy, it's not even a brick in hand. Outrageous. Anyway, okay, back to Mr. 3 Galdino. This is a 1K counter in hand, so it's never a brick in your hand. You get to pay 4 to deal with a 9-cost character. A 9-cost or lower character, by the way. and then you get to draw 2 cards. So you're paying 4 to draw 2. That's already nearly good enough to run by itself with a 1k counter attached to it, right? There are events we've had in the past, like Sanji's Pull-Off, that let you do a pay 3, draw 2 on an event. Well, this is a pay 4, draw 2, and lock down a 9-cost or lower character. An effect like this is starting to power creep into a certain direction that is a bit concerning. I'll just say that right now. And I know some people are probably thinking, like, yeah, but the card is gone after you deactivate evade. Yeah, that's not really the point, though, right? Because you're paying 4 to draw 2 cards. That's already nearly on, you know, how would I say this? Like, that's already, you know, on curve for what you would want to do for an event. It would be pay 3 to draw a card, or excuse me, to draw 2. Well, if you add 1 more Dawn, you get to pay 4 and draw 2 and lock down an attack, and a card like this is not even a brick in hand. I do think that's kind of pushing things a little bit, but I don't know. Maybe not. Tell me what you guys think in the comments section below. And that's really all I have to say about blue. If I missed a card you guys think should maybe get some attention or some talking about, please mention in the comment section below. Okay, moving on to green. Cards like Electrical Luna. This is wild right here, I have to say. So Bandai, understand this, guys. Bandai's not big on adding board clears in the game of One Piece. We've seen a few very, very gimmicky versions of board clear in the past, with the 10-cost Kaido from, I think, OP01 or OP02 way back in the beginning. And then there was the secret Kaido in Linlin that came out, I think, around set 9 or so. I can't remember exactly. Don't quote me on that one. That's a win attacking board clear, by the way. And that's, I think that might be it. We even saw a 9-cost Shanks that was very gimmicky. It could KO all characters on the board with a cost of 1 or less. And yes, I guess technically you could combine that with some type of cost reduction in some way. Maybe if it's been extended with Kuzan. I have no idea. My point is this. It is very limited and very restricted. Bandai does not like the idea of board clear in their game. There's also a blue event that can bottom deck everything called It's a Waste of Human Life or something like that.
Yep.
Okay, but then we have cards like this Electrical Luna right here that lock down, so it's not clearing the characters, but it locks down all of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 7 or less. There's also a 1-cost green event called We Know You're Strong that has a similar effect, but it can only lock down 2 characters for 3 Dawn. But then it's
destroy floating Pokeballs.
And cards like this, I think Bandai needs to be very careful with moving forward, unless they want to start giving this kind of option to every color in the game, which I don't think many people would like that. Or maybe not every color in the game, I will take that back.
Leave me alone.
You know, more than 1 color in the game, I'd say. Like maybe blue, black, and green should have it, whereas red, yellow, and purple can play around it or something. I have no idea. But either way, this card's a little bit scary, and the same thing with the other event counterpart that it has in the We Know You're Strong event. And just the resting things down in general, this is just toxic to go against for green. But I will say this, I think that's all it is. In the same way that people get upset that yellow gains life, green rests down characters. That's what they do. That's their gimmick, right? That's kind of their main thing. So I don't really necessarily have a big problem with green having access to tools like this, having access to cards like this. Like I said, I just think they need to be careful with cards like Electrical Luna that could potentially rest down your opponent's entire board for the turn for only 3 Dawn. That's where I think things can get a little bit scary. I think if they're going to continue with cards like this in the future, it should be more in line with the effects of the 1-cost 3K, or excuse me, the 1-cost / 3-cost event, We Know You're Strong, that can only hit 2 cards like this. That, I think, is a bit more balanced.
This one up there.
So, yeah. That's pretty much all I have for green right now. There are some cards within green that are kind of scary. Like I said, like this Brook right here is very scary, but I think it's pretty balanced. And even this Boa. This card's pretty wild, I'm not going to lie. But I think given what it is, being a 7-cost character, I do think it's relatively balanced, even though it's extremely powerful. Okay? Alright, so that's it for green. We've gone over green, blue, purple, yellow. Now we have to talk about black and red before we finish things up here. And those colors are not doing great right now. As you can see on this graph right here, notice red is kind of towards the top end up here. And even black, you know, this Marshall V teach is way more of a yellow list than anything. But we have black Yamato, which is exclusively black Yamato cards for the most part, with the exception being Ground Death, I think, which I think is a fine
we need more.
Fine. But yeah, I think black is doing fine. Same thing with Crocodile. We're not even going to talk about black. I don't think anything needs to be touched with black at all. But for red, there are a few cards that are a little bit scary, but I don't think they're broken.
I want that.
Let's go to red, green, Lucy for
oh,
this example.
Fucking male, never mind.
Card. Or maybe they don't. No, yes, they do. Okay, I was going to say, there's no way they don't run this card. This Zoro, I'm going to put this in the same category as like the 7 cost 9k Boa, maybe even the 7 cost 9k blue Sabo, or excuse me, Lucy. I think maybe it is Sabo, I think that's what its name is, because it's in the Lucy deck. But this card right here, it's strong, but I don't think it's broken. I don't want them to print too many effects like this, and we're starting to see a lot of power increase effects across the board. I've mentioned this in previous videos as well, but I think this card's completely fine. It's just very powerful. It's a card you have to play around, but I think you can play around the card, and that's the most important thing. It's like, okay, can I play around this card? Yes, technically you can just attack larger on the board and just still swing into your opponent's leader. And that is the really important thing, guys. When it comes to a card being healthy for the game in the future, I think the thing you have to ask yourself is, how can I play around an effect? And if the answer is you can't, that's when something starts feeling very unhealthy for the game in the future. So like we were talking about with purple, I'm sorry, you're not playing around all of that power reduction. It's probably just not happening. Again, unless Bandai starts printing cards to do that. Or in the case of yellow, me gaining life on my turn is one thing, and I can play around that, but me gaining life on your turn, you're probably not going to be able to play around that, because then it goes back to my turn and I gain even more life and I've generated advantage or tempo or whatever, right? So like with purple and yellow, hopefully that makes the most sense. Green and blue, I think they're kind of fine, because I think we can play around the stuff we talked about from them for the most part. You know, some of the resting effects you really can't play around, but again, just like you can't play around someone necessarily gaining life, you can do your best to, plan accordingly. Hopefully that makes sense. Same idea here with this red Zoro card. I think this card is completely fine. And then on top of that, there's one other card we have to talk about. Let me see if I can find a red-blue. Ace might have the card in it. It's the secret 10 cost Roger. Okay, guys, I can't find it. Actually, Lucy should be able to have one of these in there. Yeah, perfect. So the last card to talk about, I think, guys, is probably Goldie Roger. Ultimately, I think the card's fine. It is a card. You technically can't, quote-unquote, play around it, but you can at the same time in two different ways. Either A, you can just choose to not knock your opponent down to 0 life, or you choose not to go down to 0 life as well, blocking accordingly, and all of that stuff. But overall, this is meant to be an execute style card, so that's really what it comes down to. And you can play around it by, again, keeping you and your opponent at 1 or more life, and then on top of that, you can also just try to build up enough counter and damage to go from there. And of course, it depends on what deck you're running. If you're running purple Go Flamingo or black yellow Teach, you can redirect attacks and all that stuff. So yeah, other than that, I think I think this card's fine though. I don't think this is broken. I don't think anyone else thinks it's broken either. I just wanted to make sure we hit every color. Okay, so guys, that's about it. I know some people actually are looking at this in the background, thinking like, well, maybe this card needs to be hit. I don't think so, guys. I know that we definitely want to keep things balanced and all that good stuff. Whenever we're dealing with bans and restrictions, or at least even thinking about it. But if you look at the chart right here, let me increase my camera size again. I think we can go back up to this. If you look at this chart, guys, overall, I think the format looks pretty good. I think things are kind of fine for now, with some of the bigger problems in the game actually being the two main things we talked about in this video. We were kind of all over the place, but there were two main things we really focused on, and it was the first two colors we talked about. Purple, with their power reduction and the effects that come along with that, are starting to feel a bit toxic, and so are some yellow cards with the way they're gaining life, in the manner that they're gaining life. Like I was saying, guys, why is Bandai giving yellow these insanely cheap yellow life gain characters? Yep. It would be one thing if I could pay for, use a yellow event to gain life on my turn. I don't think that would be all that bad. Pay for an event, by the way, not a character. But paying for a 6,000 power character that can also cheat out of the trash with a card effect like Gecko Moria and gain life, I think that's where things start getting a little bit crazy, and especially when you start gaining multiple life in one turn, like in the case of yellow, Zoro and what's his name, Borsellino. I think that's where things start getting a little bit ugly, and that's why I was saying that I don't think there should be a character in the game that costs less than 7 Dawn that gains your life, unless that card is a conditional gain life effect, like we saw in the case of 4 cost yellow Hiyori. Actually, we didn't bring that up in today's video, but if you guys want to look that up, it's a 4-cost yellow Hiyori blocker. I think it's from OP 12 or 13, something like that. And it's a 4-cost, 1,000 power character with a 1k counter, with an on, and it's a blocker with an on KO to trash a card from your hand and gain a life. Gaining a life like that on your opponent's turn, where they actually can play around the card and it's not a threat on the board, that I think is completely fine. But being able to activate on play effects on your opponent's turn, should that really be a thing anymore, guys? I don't really know. I don't know if that should actually be a thing. I think it's not actually healthy for the I don't think it's good for the long-term health of the game. Okay, so there you go, guys. Again, let me say this. I'm not calling for a ban for any card or anything like that. I think overall the format is pretty healthy. I mean, look at this graph, guys. That's really not all that bad, but we'll see how things shape up in the future. Now that we are 1 month into OP 16, I do think some of the decks that are being played a lot right now, just because they're new, that probably will drop down a fair amount. And now we might see some certain decks rising to the top that might make it where this is like a 3, 4, maybe 5 deck format altogether. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Tell me what you guys think in the comments section below. All right, I'm done. I hope you all enjoyed. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me get the outro page on here real quick. And guys, if you are liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing my stuff, or using my TCG Player affiliate link, you're helping me out big time. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. And for everyone who's going above and beyond, donating through Patreon or PayPal, the Playmat supporters, the YouTube members, the Discord community, you guys are incredible. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. All right, I'm done. Hope you all enjoyed. Until next time, peace.
Whatever.
Well, folks, it is 2026 and there is no way around it. If you want to win in the One Piece card game, you need to get cards out of your opponent's hand. What is up? It's your boy Real_Joshua, and in today's video, I'm going to teach you 10 ways to get cards out of your opponent's hand, because sometimes they're not so obvious. First off, thank you so much for watching.
I already know how to do that, Mr. What am I looking for? Destroy floating balls. Destroy sludge. I need to find more sludge, I guess. It wouldn't be down here. I mean up here. I need to find one more. More of that. Be down here somewhere, right? All shiny. More of that. It's a big ass Pichu. Take these damn points. Make these points. Oh, there's one right there. Good job. So many Pokemon here. So many different Pokemon. Pretty cool. Oh, sludge. Alright. We completed all of them, I believe. Yep. Oh, there's a bonus. Where is it? I don't know. Maybe we should go up there somewhere. Somehow. Not there. Is it up here? Don't see it anywhere. Oh, there it is. Oh, come on. Oh my god. Get it. Get these here, and then we're done. Oh, wait, there's one more. There's more. Alright, now we are done. Alright, what do I want to watch? Emery. Marco local. Someone brought Marco to a local. It's crazy. Alright, let's watch some of this.
Hey guys, welcome to our review of X-Men 97, Season 2, 1997. Well, almost 30 years ago, Joe. Our childhoods. It is so good to see it return to such triumphant, such a triumphant fashion, not missing a beat, not being fucked with too much, and being done actually pretty well. So they premiered this 2 days ago. We just got around to seeing the first 3 episodes is what's available on streaming now. And so we wanted to make a video to say, should you go out and see this? Yes, I really enjoyed the first 3 episodes here. It's a good setup for X-Men versus Apocalypse. Something we never got to see come to fruition in the original back 30 years ago. And kind of set up that eventually, and looks like we're going to finally get the payoff of the X-Men versus Apocalypse within these first 3 episodes. But to me, they pack a lot of heart, a lot of action, a lot of drama, a lot of character moments into these bite-sized 30-minute episodes. Saturday morning cartoon style. Yes, the pacing's fast. Yes, there's not a lot of time for a lot of things, but this is how you get it done right in a small, short amount of time. And season 2 is just as good so far as season 1. Few things here and there that may not be as compelling, but as things are growing throughout this season, I think that eventually we'll get there. And we can talk about some of those individual pieces. And I wanted to look up real quick how many episodes we're getting. So we're getting 9 episodes. God damn it. That's the only modern thing I hate that is fucking
40 episodes.
Where are those 40 episodes even? When shit is this good, I'm a kid again, and I wanna watch them 40 times. Give me 40 Saturdays in a row.
Just picked on my
something to look forward to.
Very
only 9 episodes, and so the first 3 are setting up the rise of Apocalypse, and we are in 2 different timelines. We're in the far future, and we are also in the far past
and in the present.
So you're looking at 3960 AD. We're also a little bit in 1997, and then also in the past with Egypt. What did you guys think? So I loved it. I didn't go out and see it. I mean, this is a reason for me to keep my Disney Plus, because there's not a lot of reason right now to have it. But if you have it, or just activate it for a month, flip it on, turn it off, or maybe 2 weeks. You get prorated, I don't know, but it's one of the things. Oh, and there's another really interesting one we need to do a trailer reaction for. It's the 9th Jedi. Looks really cool. And an anime Star Wars thing where they were crazy with it. That looks really cool. But what did you guys think of X-Men Season 2?
Oh wait,
I really
there's a
liked
gold
it.
one
Didn't miss a beat.
somewhere.
Back to my childhood. I want to see more of it.
No, fell.
Already. Cable's getting shit done. This is actually stuff that this is what Cable needs to be done. Can be assertive, and I I
Yeah.
actually didn't think he would kill somebody.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, this is what you gotta do.
You
This
always
guy,
expect.
yeah, because like
They do this all the
well,
time
let's
in
just-
cartoons.
Cartoons all the time. It's like, well, he's a bad guy. We're just taking him to jail. He's an escape from people. It's like, hey, this is
Joe's like, always told him to do it. And then he did it. And Joe's like, wait, he did it?
yeah, I was surprised. This guy has like so much blood in like his history. Like, fuck it, just kill him. And they did.
Where's the gold ball?
The animation's still amazing. The voice acting is still great by everyone. I'm loving this so far. I can't wait for the next.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. 2 is like
That's the only one.
Alex hates Jubilee.
Why do you
thought this
hate
was a great
Jubilee,
moment for
bro?
Jubilee.
She's
Like
great.
a James Gunn moment. Put on the headphones. And get a little
Jubilee's great. My favorite
It could be a
X-Men.
James Gunn moment. It could be a good one.
yeah, I didn't think
That's
it
not
was,
an insult.
yeah, I didn't think it was good. I don't like any of her stuff or like her you know, well no, his name is War and he's only committed every genocide and murder ever and like his mind is bulletproof and we're gonna give him to the good guys who we can easily escape from and so yeah, that's so true. I didn't think it was but one and 3 were I don't particularly like shit. Because you just it's Saturday morning cartoon. You can't think about it as much. And they handle it as well as you possibly can. You know,
Find it.
back and forth. And so I think it's actually almost unedited. Quick, and we don't like delve too nitty gritty on like the effects of time. Or they allude to it's like, hey, we can't do too much, we'll mess up the timeline. But we don't get too into the weeds because
You don't want to get into
yeah,
the
it
weeds.
wouldn't make any sense to begin with, and it's just I just love things like Storm being insanely powerful, and seeing all of these characters that
Storm
I
is supposed to be insanely powerful. Omega level mutant.
Good. Thumbs up for me.
Yeah, I like the Jubilee versus the X Force because the X Force basically has a different way of doing things, and Jubilee's like the heart of the old X-Men, and I love that little story beat there, which is like maybe we shouldn't kill the people that we capture, and it's 2 different policies on how to do something. They don't really, the show itself doesn't really push one at you, you know? It leaves you, Joe's like, let's do it this way, and then they did this way, and it worked. You know, but you also see some expressions on Nathan / Cable's face, like, you know, okay, well, maybe we do got to do things certain ways. And he actually turns around and goes back and helps Jubilee. It was the right thing to do because it's a member of his team. He keeps saying she can handle herself, and Sunspot makes the point. It's like, yeah, she can. Doesn't mean she has to. Let's work team. Let's go out there. And that shit may be corny for some people and annoying for some people, but I think it works, and I enjoy it.
I mean, the problem I have with it is that's not the situation they presented. They're like, hey, the whole timeline, everyone who's ever lived is going to die. And it's
Ooh,
like,
big
she's not in
all
danger,
power.
She's just sitting in a cell, safe and sound. And it's like, you can go get her later. So, like, they present these things as equal. And it's like, that's the problem with War. They're like, oh, we don't kill him. He's like, this isn't like I picked a pocket on the street. Yeah, and then even Angel's like, I've been a slave to Apocalypse before. This is a mercy killing. So it's like, I don't think that they're balanced in any
you
sort
don't
of way.
kill. You don't become the thing that you're trying to stop. That's been the moral in every single comic book and every single animated series. If they just start going around murdering all the villains that they fight, that's a different message. You have to remember, it's also a Saturday morning cartoon, trying to instill some morals into some kids as they grow up. As we grow older, as we get jaded, we know the things that Alex knows, we know the things that we know, and yeah, shoot the motherfucker in the face, get it over with now. But come on, guys. Anyway,
We're not saying for all the villains, just like War, Famine, and like the real bad ones.
Yes.
Okay, and so yeah, I thought every episode worked out really, really well, and it set up the greater storyline. I'm excited for what's coming. Sad that there's only going to be 9 episodes, but I'm curious to see how is this going to pay off. The Apocalypse storyline is going to be satisfying. There's also the interest is how much was the original creator who, what's his name?
He's still on the.
So he still has a credit here because, man, you got to give credit where credit is due. Is when we brought back this series in season 1, fantastic, done correctly, right? Now, now he's kind of a creep, and I don't exactly know some of the things. He was just sending inappropriate pictures or something like that. I don't know, doing weird shit. Man made a colossal fuck up because you could have multiple seasons and you could have done something right, but you messed up and now it's handed to somebody else. So that's going to happen in this season, and they've already ordered a season 3. That was announced back in March 2024 or 2025. So right now they have the season 3 ready to go.
I think Bo had written 1 and 2 ready, had everything outlined. So hopefully, I think that it's hoping the same people for this one. I think it's season 3.
So we can actually see, whether what is going to happen, what's going to happen in season 3. Whether the quality goes down or not in X-Men. So, but as it stands right now, season 1 was great, and so far season 2 has started off really well as well. So throughout these first 3 episodes, I make a recommendation.
Yeah.
If you're nostalgic, if you love this old school animation,
that intro hits you every time, man.
And they do a creative.
Hits you every time.
They do a creative intro with X Factor or X Force instead of the X-Men intro. They're doing the intro, so Psylocke gets stuff. It was cool, by the way, to see Psylocke fight. You don't often get to see that. And I just love the intro. We play it every time. Do not skip this intro. While the original song has been messed with slightly bit to update it, they should have just left the original song, the exact original song. But other than that, it's a banger, and it deserves to be seen. But the highlights so far throughout these 3 episodes is basically a fight between X Factor and X Force. So you see 2 X teams going at each other, government stooges versus the next generation of X-Men who have to, or actually they're just kind of mercs.
Yeah, they just work for the government and they round up.
Yeah, that's X Factor. And it's fucked up.
Yeah, I like that scene between Polaris and Jubilee. It's like, well, Professor X, like, well, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do.
I'm just trying to get these points.
And that's how she gets released. And Jubilee gets her hit moment where she does her stupid
I like
fireworks.
Real quick, it's like, hey.
The disrespect
because you want to give everybody's
for Jubilee is crazy.
Jubilee. This is classic.
I still do, but I always get compared to her.
Never have. Why? Why did people compare you to
Because
Jubilee?
I break all these fucking machines, dude. It's not my fault.
The food trainers.
Yes, you are.
Oh, thank you.
Damn it, I'm not.
Did you hit people with your diaper, Joe? As Juggernaut would say, what you gonna do? Hit me with your diaper. So I had to break that. But she tries to get her moment here. I'm glad that, every X-Men so far in this season 1 had a big moment. Alex, shut your dirty mouth!
He's watching
dirty whore mouth! Stop!
He's watching over all of us like he likes to do in real life.
He's sitting right next to you. Let him talk shit. You got Wolverine, yeah, and Wolverine has a good scene here as well. So there's some good battle scenes. I also like this really interesting 3rd episode where you have Magneto kind of being a mentor to a young version of Apocalypse, and that danger that Apocalypse could give into his rage, or maybe Magneto can shape Apocalypse into the first mutant. Well, he is the first mutant into this idea that Charles wanted for all time, and that has or at least set up here for the next episode, part 1. Next time. So these are really, really great things. We even have some creative villains. What was it, the Future Timeline, where they had a drummer boy? Drummer boy popping. Yeah, I like some of these action figures we never got to see.
I looked some of them up. The drummer guy was spamming. If you hear his drum, you're flush.
Oh, they're like the before horse. Apocalypse pestilence, maybe the chickens all the things. And then there was like
The big guy was
a sand person or something like that. That was white. But anyway, fascinating stuff, great battle scenes, good action, good character moments, good voice acting. Some of those voice actors we already talked about in season 1. Older sounding, I don't give a fuck. Easily excusable. So great. So,
Oh my god, please just KO the thing. Stop looking at it.
But I thought it was good overall. So let's go ahead and give a overall season premiere of the first 3 episodes. Just combine it into a single rating. We'll do a quick little breakdown, super quick for each episode afterwards in the breakdown. But what's your rating for the first 3 episodes?
9.
Okay,
9
wow.
for me. It's up there. I'm excited to see what happens next. Still disappointed that it's only going to be 9 episodes. I wish there would be more.
Yeah.
But it's real quick. There's not a lot of downtime. It's just the entire time. Let's plot. See what happens.
Next
like
battle.
Magneto was actually trying to do what Charles always wanted to do, so he kind of changed his ways. Kind of. I was like, at first I thought he was going to be like, all right, well, I'm going to control.
Yeah, I really like the stuff because when we watched the original series, there were a lot of filler episodes. But this feels like I'm hoping it's a solid 9 episodes.
Yeah.
I'm sticking to the point the entire time. I hope they can nail it, but this was really good. 8 out of 10. Excellent first, 3rd episode. And I don't hate the 2nd episode. It's just like when we're dealing with like the main stuff, like the B plot hasn't caught up with the A plot yet.
Yeah, I also am going to go with an 8 out of 10. Initially, I was like, I don't know, do I like this Nathan chosen child and this and that? It was, when he's a kid, it's kind of annoying. But then as the next 2 episodes come along, it really pays off. And it does well. I could see 9 very much as very
This one is so cute. Look at it.
because then as we go along, we can always modify our rating. 8 out of 10 for the premiere. A solid recommendation. Go out and watch it. If you've already seen it, don't discuss it in spoilers with it. Because I have a question on Mother Akani. Akani, yeah, this is like crazy. Well, we'll talk about it in the breakdown. Okay, so go check it out. Hey guys, welcome to the breakdown for the first 3 episodes. Mother Akani, she is the Summers, right? She's like, because she's got the Phoenix fucking symbols in her eyes. So that's like she's the daughter of the Summers, right?
I don't know.
They kind of like skip over it. I don't know if in the comics
She is. I know she,
Maybe
yeah,
she's-
she sees them in her eyes when she's looking at it, and maybe that's just like.
I was like, wait.
Well, maybe like because I think she was talking about the thing that's going to defeat Apocalypse. So maybe it's just
Correct.
the force stuff.
What?
So,
You got that quicker than I did.
Rachel Summers.
Rachel Summers. Okay, that's cool. So now you got the Nathan Summers and Rachel Summers. She's revealed, but it doesn't treat you like an idiot. It doesn't spell it out for you. You know, it leaves the mystery up to you. Like, what is that? Maybe I want to
Yeah,
do
exactly.
more, or we'll learn more in the future. I mean, they'll probably talk more about it in
as we people through time, it's pretty crazy.
yeah.
It's her all along.
It was because they're like, God damn it, old woman, I'm tired of your bullshit. Tell us what the fuck is going on. Why? And then she's put 2 separate teams and 2 separate timelines. Apparently, these are the timelines where Apocalypse is the weakest, where you can try to do something there. Meanwhile, Apocalypse, is trying to get to 1997 because that's where the X-Men are the weakest. So you got that thing going on at both sides. Anyways, episode 1. We
Yeah,
do
you want more?
the 49th century in ancient Egypt with Apocalypse, who's already like this massive robot. He only appears every once in a while. He's trying to reconstitute his body. I guess they're trying to choose Nathan as the new vessel for him. And these 2 are linked together. He's fated to defeat Apocalypse, and Apocalypse wants this guy for his body. So super important child storyline.
Yeah, so Forge was tasked to go to the future, so you guys
I'll be right back.
bring back the new.
Yeah, Forge is a genius, and he can make fucking anything. So he makes a time machine, forms a plan with Bishop to go get the X-Men back to 1990s, or back to the 90s is what they say. And I'm like, that's no. I was like, let's get the X-Men back to the 90s. Thank you. So the episode start, the first battle scene, we get these cool Terminator designs. I like the Terminator designs on the set.
He's blasting away, but then he kind of gets cornered, and then we get Wolverine.
There you go.
The Bone Claw.
Bone Claws, Wolverine doing his thing, and so the X-Men have been hiding out here, and they meet up with Forge. And meanwhile, we get a subplot of Scott and Jean wanting to just be with Nathan and take Nathan for themselves, and I get it. It makes sense.
They
Your
haven't
parents-
been with their son. It's like, this is our son. We have to be with him. And they're like, no, you have to go back to your own town. It's like, we can't just leave him there. But the mother, what was it? Scotty is like, no, this is his path. And then they decide, fuck it, we'll do our own path. And they kidnap Nathan.
They do. And that's when they're running in the desert and they run into these motherfuckers.
The drummer boy.
The drummer boy and
The geisha.
the geisha and stuff.
The
So
guy
they
on the
fight a
magic
little bit.
carpet.
Cool. Now, when I say annoying, it's not really annoying. It's just one of those timey-wimey things that Alex says, this could go either way. And most of the time people fuck it up. But here I was like, kind of annoying. Perhaps this was always meant to be this way. Perhaps we were supposed to kidnap him and go this way. It's like, perhaps you're doing the wrong thing. And you're the one that's fucking the plan. And it's like, And it's like, this boy was meant to beat Apocalypse. And I'm like, okay. I don't really like Chosen One storylines too much.
Except for the one.
Yeah.
The one's good.
I am the one. I am no one's bitch! You are all my bitch! The one goes in. Old woman reveals herself. Finally, they're like, all right,
It's me.
done of this bullshit.
Weird hair.
And then, where is it? She's clearly, I thought initially, I was like, is this a future version of Jean Grey or something? But no, it doesn't look like her. So apparently maybe Rachel Summers, if you look her up in the comics.
Forward in time. She raises her own brother.
Boom. But again, so then they ride the train to Apocalypse's fucking headquarters.
Storm also does something crazy
Oh, yeah,
here.
yeah.
Storm is already like Omega level mutant and like one of the coolest things ever. She summons a solar storm.
He's like, I don't know if I can do that. I tried. I was like, holy shit, you did it.
She can summon the sun.
She didn't try very hard.
Yeah.
It just happened.
It's like, we don't need this.
Somebody power up a little bit.
We don't need Cable. She can summon the sun. She can burn that motherfucker forever.
But then, so Apocalypse is essentially defeated in that timeline, but he's like, it's okay, I'm gonna go get him when they're most vulnerable in the night. And then that's when we get a small flashback scene where Nathan, the little crying bitch child the whole time, I can't do it, maybe I can't do it, but then he puts his hand in the thing, and then he gets his cable arm from advanced technology, and then basically he's like, they flash forward to current Cable, who had met the X-Men, who had met 30 years ago when we were watching as kids, and we're like, okay, how's it? And now we get to see it from the other end, where Cable grows into an old man, and he's recruiting. He's like, I gotta recruit some people to stop Apocalypse. So that was a good one. I'm gonna go 7 out of 10 on this one, just mainly for the Nathan stuff and getting its foothold back. What y'all?
I was at like 8 or 9 out of 10. Like, I was thinking like 9 originally. I mean, I completely understand not liking the time thing because I'm typically a hater, but I think it's a truncated format, and we rushed through it without like dwelling on it too much.
I
I
am
thought
back.
they did some clever stuff, and it kind of got me hooked right away.
I like the train design too, slamming it. Yeah. Nice.
Holy shit.
She's like super Omega level.
Brought me back to the fucking childhood watching these games.
I wanted Storm to have a little bit more of a build up to that, but she's like, go do it. And she's like, I did
You
it.
have to try. It says a couple
Come on,
words.
there's
Holy
more
shit.
stress? I don't know.
Yeah. It's fine.
I guess her love
We
with
got
for
time.
Forge.
Because what's her name said that like in every timeline you're like the shit, and it's like
I
Storm
am the
is-
shit.
like even Halle Berry was the best part of like those fucking movies. No, that's the greatest line of all.
She's fucking
But
horrible. She's a horrible actress. No, I
you know
won't
what
allow
happens
it.
to a toad when it gets struck
Yes.
by lightning?
That is a very
Let me
memeable
guess,
line. It's
Alex.
the worst line in the film.
Same thing that
Everybody
happens to
hated it for
everything
years now. Flipping back on itself now, everybody's liking it for being so stupid.
It's like Ghost of Mars.
Episode 2. No, that's not a thing. We're not
It is
making
a
that a
thing.
thing. It is not. And
not
I
written.
watched it, Joe. I've seen it. It's
3.
not good. In episode 2, in 1997, mutants are being rounded up. They go to the X-Mansion, and
Yeah, the government is evil.
the X-Mansion is broken
Yeah, from
down.
last season.
The
Now they
X-Men
got X
have
Factor
disappeared.
rounding up. Say, hey, come with us, children. We're gonna lock you up.
Fuck. Go to jail.
I hate the X Factor. Fuck those guys. And that big strong man. I actually had that action figure. Joe, did you have that action figure?
I've seen that one. I was like, dude,
with the small,
fuck is
tiny
that?
little glasses. I didn't know who he was when I was playing with the action figure. I just had a big X on his chest, and I would smash him against the other fucking toys. Anyway, so Cable recruits Jubilee. Alex's eyes rolled into the back of his head and grunted.
I
She's
heard.
so insanely powerful in theory, and they're like, oh, she can make nukes. It's like, yeah, but she doesn't. So
I never even knew.
Scandal.
I just thought, Jubilee is just, her shit hurts, and you just look them at the whole team, something on that level. But I didn't know she can go that crazy. I'm sure she can in comics and stuff. But anyways, the X-Force intro was cool, where they redo the intro as Cable's team, because he's the only one that's fighting, but he's doing things different. It's a Black Ops team, and she's like, why do you want me for your Black Ops team? He didn't explain it.
he's like, you're the only one left.
Because no, because
Sunspots there
There's shit stain, and there's Jubilee, and then we like Psylocke.
He doesn't even talk to Sunspot, right?
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like
Sunspot.
it's almost like he's coming just because he's her boyfriend, but he's more powerful than she is.
I think
just
she's
recruits
supposed to
her
be more
because
powerful.
she knows where war is.
But they don't
The
show
last
her. They
one.
keep her almost like she's at the same power level in season 1, or not the same, a little bit better, but not like overpowered. But that's what I like, that she actually has to like fucking work with her powers to like get things going and put.
I didn't know
put
she
people-
could really fight like that.
Well, Cable did say I trained you, so we have to shorthand. So he
Yeah.
probably did a few months of training.
Yeah,
or
he's
something.
like, oh, she's fine. I trained her. I was like, damn, I want to train with Cable.
I want to train with Cable too. You probably don't want to train with Cable. Anyways, they go to this Brazil parade and they are seeking out the horsemen, and they find War. And
He's got
And this is where they
worst bowl cut. It's like
he does.
Doc
I
Ock.
hate War's design. He looks stupid as
Killer
fuck.
for that stupid haircut.
But you know Archangel was one of the 4
Yes.
Norsemen. Okay, got it. And then anyway, so they have some scenes here, and even Archangel's like, yeah, kill his ass. I don't give a fuck. And Jubilee's like, no, we
It's like
don't
they
do this.
changed views,
And
like-
as she's trying to make the whole, the Scott Summers, Cyclops, we don't kill thing, he fucking shoots him. And he dies.
They have no
His
place.
name is War.
They have no
Joe,
place to
you just
contain
gonna
him.
blame all wars in the universe on War?
Well,
Okay.
they said in this one he's responsible for all these genocides.
I know this is gonna be triggering to you, but like in that scene in Supergirl, she could have killed him, but then she killed her family afterwards. It's like, see, this
Triggering
is-
to me. I'm the one. I brought that point up.
yeah,
and I
it's just
asked you
stupid. You
guys
should
about
have just fucking killed it. Well, yeah, I'm just well that scene.
Let's see.
Whatever.
Ruthie was
Ruthie was
gonna
gonna
stab
kill
him, and she stops him, and so he goes.
He's
That
like,
does trigger me.
Yeah.
Why the fuck did she kill at the end?
You
Because
could
you're
have killed him
heroes.
then.
Oh, I see what you're saying,
Yes.
Joe. Yes.
But this
As
is
a
Cable.
hero, you're not supposed to kill.
But this
Right?
is
Just
Cable's
like
scene.
that's why Batman doesn't fucking kill Joker all the fucking time.
Paralyzes them.
Now I'm not a paragon of truth. I don't really give a shit.
He's a
For
bad
certain
guy.
characters. I actually liked it when Batman killed Joker one time.
Yeah.
But you know,
But this
I
one was
understand
just-
the message.
Yeah, and like Alex said before too, this guy deserved it. Everyone else is like, okay, maybe.
There's a tier of people that are like, we can't let him go. He's too powerful.
But I like her standing up for
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
old
yeah, yeah.
ideals of the X-Men, even if it makes her annoying, even if it makes
That
the audience
point-
turn against
yeah,
her.
that
I'm
point-
not against her. I'm on her
That
side.
point I didn't really care
Because I
about.
like the blend of the two forces. I want to be a little bit more like Cable's X-Force,
Correct.
but also still hold some
Correct.
of the
That's why I like the point where she's like, well, she saved the kids and everything else. It's like, well, we're not gonna save these people. Like, what's the point? Like, I like that point. better.
Yeah. And so, and it was cool seeing Psylocke fight. So Psylocke shows up in the parade, helps round up War. She's badass. And I'm feeling I'm playing Marvel Rivals over here because you get to see all the
It's
people.
triggering. I was like, get out of the circle.
Run around. That's awesome. Emma Frost shows up too. Like, that's my girl. Wait a minute. Where the booty at? She ain't got no booty. She ain't got no thickness. I don't like
I was
this
like,
Emma.
this one was.
But that's crazy because the Marvel Rivals Emma she's way different. She does not.
Yeah.
She's not like that in the comics. She got the same attitude though. And Emma Frost, goddamn this girl, man, she betrays everybody. She's like,
She's
I'll
great.
set up. She didn't want the money and the diamonds.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the bad guys you don't kill. He's bad, kind of bad.
Kind of bad, yeah. She goes into diamond form as everybody starts fighting. The X-Force shows, or the X-Factor shows up to arrest the X-Force. Then they start fighting and shit, and I liked it. So this is when I was like, oh, we're going up. And then they're like, you're rounding up mutants and all that stuff. And then that's when the storyline where, what's her name? Polaris lets her out when she gets in the field. That's when Jubilee has her action scene. And yeah, it's very James Gunn-like. If you want to talk about that, where she puts on the music and she does her kick-ass scene. And while I don't like the music, because it's like Volcano Girls or something, I'm not that familiar with it. I can see something. I said, like, appreciate from the outside. I like it. And she kicks ass, even though she's not the most muscly and strongest. At one point, she, gets up against the wall, and one of just a standard guy is actually overpowering her, and they do this creative thing where she fires off her fireworks from her feet, which propels her. And
Rocket jumps off of him, yeah.
Rocket jumps. So that was cool. So, but anyways, the point is that Jubes, as she's called by Knights, but Jubes has heart, and she basically is, and she's right ultimately. And he does convince Cable to circle back because Cable's about to leave her ass. He's like, she'll break out, she'll be fine on her own. We need to do stuff. It's like, yeah, but we're stronger together. Let's go grab her. It's not that big of a deal. What are you gaining by not getting her? So he does turn around, and she does the right thing. This is what I love, teaching people the right thing. She breaks open the prison for everybody. Gets all the people. She's like, I got cargo. Okay, cargo? What cargo? Turns out all these little kids running around. I thought it would be cool if, like, one of the kids, like, helps out.
They left the necklaces, or the inhibitors on all of them. It's like,
Break those right away.
They did happen.
Anyways, and then we go and factor into Nathan having time. He time slides his parents after a tearful goodbye because they want to. Parents wants to spend time with mom and dad, but nope. And it was a good scene, and you can feel even in the 2 minutes and 37 seconds, you're like, okay, yeah, that's cool. It's well executed, and that's when I said, they pack a lot of heart and drama into these really short episodes. It's shorthand, but you still somehow feel it. Whereas some movies are 2 hours long, and you're like, I didn't feel shit. Like Supergirl, you're supposed to be like, yeah, teach her not to kill and spare her from that, but then don't turn around in the last moment and
Hey, what's that? Let's go.
I thought I heard
Let's
something.
go out for cheeseburger.
Because now you have murderers running around on your team. Fucking Hawk Girl murdered in the last film in Superman. Supergirl murdered in this film. We're about to have a team up buddy Lex and Superman, but I'm gonna be mad at it because I'm gonna be like, do not buddy with him. That motherfucker murdered that guy that sold food on the side of the street. It was a fucking kind man, and he just fucking murders him. No, murdering is totally cool. God damn it. It does seem like that. It's like, wait a minute, I thought we were doing brighter and happier, and you brought over the one element from Zack Snyder's that I had a problem with. I liked everything else. Okay, anyways, I'm getting into fucking Superman. So, that's basically the it on that one, and I'm going to go 8 out of 10 for me on that as well.
7 for me, still good.
Oh, wow. Okay, we reversed on those. And then finally, the third episode, this when it really kind of starts coming together for me. Fascinating episode in the past. And they got a battle scene. It reminds me of the Mummy when the motherfuckers are coming up, riding on their horses against the Pharaoh. And this Pharaoh's character is interesting. I feel like I did miss some things because you got these Egyptians dancing in the background.
like,
You don't
what's
have. I'm
going
like, I
on?
want to see that, but it's never explained or anything like that. Where does this pharaoh get his technology from? Because he's really powerful. This is supposed to be the past.
We know that there's a spaceship because Madam, whatever her name is, the daughter, says that Apocalypse got his power from a crashed spaceship. And so she made it sound like he was an alien. And I thought for sure he was like the first mutant human, but like she's like
Kang.
a spaceship, so I didn't
Kang the
know.
Conqueror.
Or maybe it was the pharaoh got his power from the spaceship.
But I think he is, but I think they're setting up that Apocalypse goes there and then goes to the temple and becomes ultimate.
And they might have meant that with Apocalypse because Apocalypse is also borrowing technology. Because some of the soldiers, I guess, have some I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, and then this is when we get Magneto trying to influence Apocalypse, kind of, guide him in that direction. And then he has a great scene with Charles where he's trying to explain. It's like, Charles, you're right. And then Charles is like, hey, Joe knows it wasn't your fault. And so all these really great character moments of weaknesses and flaws of the characters are explored
we
and
can't
then
rewrite history.
explained.
It's like, but the humans rewrite them all the time.
Why can't we? It's like,
It's
well, it's
for
going to
better.
blow up in our face. And it
It's
does
to be
blow up
better.
in their face. And so whereas Apocalypse is like, all right, I'm going to trust you guys. Now I trust nobody. Survival of the fittest. You're already getting some of that hint from him because he's been a slave all his life. They beat his ass before he learned how to fight. They, took his freedom before he was able to make any choices and all sorts of good stuff. And in a short amount of time, they convey all this pretty well. Meanwhile, Charles goes into, initially they do a initial attack, and they've got robots enslaving the Egyptian people to build stuff. They break in, they defeat these robots, and there's a sub-boss called Logos, which is riding on this elephant. Really cool scene where the elephant and Apocalypse fights. Apocalypse is goddamn powerful. He's almost like a Superman level where his just strength, just random strength, fucking lift things and get shot a billion times and nothing happens. In fact, his whole army sucks. It's just really him. He's the one that's doing most of the fighting. His army ain't doing shit, but I thought it was cool. And, but eventually he wins that battle, but instead of killing Logos right there and then actually continuing to go and fight, as Joe probably said he should have done, they do a retreat. And later on they're explaining, why didn't we do, his second-hand man is like, fuck these X-Men telling you all this shit. Why didn't we go and knock all their shit down? He's like, well, we don't understand their army technology, and they have this hidden agenda where they're like, if we killed a motherfucker, we will never get back to our own time. Because Beast is trying to get them back, but there's not enough power with these robots to do it. So it's a secret agenda that could spill out and end up looking like they're betraying Apocalypse when they're not betraying Apocalypse. They're just trying to get home. But guess what happened? And
He
the
finds
motherfucker...
it. He's like, what is this
What is
technology?
it?
You betrayed me. He's like, no, it's not like that. Then he fucking kills Logo.
Oh yeah, there's
Beheads
multiple
him.
times where he's about to, and I love that scene where Magneto stops him.
Magnus is
Magnus in this, yeah. And it was sweet, and he's like, you would have me not kill him? Yeah. And he walks off. I just love the dialogue here is really good.
It is.
Any of the lines is like, you would laugh at me after we just showed you mercy? Because the guy starts laughing, and then he's the evil. You fools! They're working on a technology not right now that will fuck you all up. So like, oh shit, okay, well, we have a ticking time. We gotta hurry up and do this. Meanwhile, when it is revealed, that this technology, and it does appear as if the X-Men betrayed Apocalypse, he starts fighting everybody. Everybody starts fighting everybody once they figure out at the Rebel headquarters. But Logos takes an opportunity to transmit where these motherfuckers are at. And the Pharaoh, with all his cool magic and powers and technology, fires a beam on over.
I thought it was once he got beheaded.
It fires a beam on over there, and it slams into the Rebel headquarters, and just a laser blast. To be continued. We don't know, who died. I think Apocalypse
they're all
probably blocked
dead.
them all.
No one really does.
So, what would you rate this episode?
I really like it.
Yeah, this one felt actually the most like a comic book too, because this is like an hour-long movie that they condensed in 30 minutes. You have to fill in the blanks a lot, but it like, right. It's like a connect the dots that makes sense. It's like, okay, everything flows really, really well.
Apocalypse
We
is
didn't
just
need-
like on the edge. It's like, is he gonna sway this way or?
Yeah, we didn't need the origin of the pharaoh and his technology. We didn't understand why the dancers are dancing in the back. You know,
Okay,
he's
here
a
it is.
pharaoh. He's like women dance for me. Let's go. And it was, you know, maybe they're doing tribal stuff and celebrating and all that stuff. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for me too. This is really awesome. So we're on the upward trend here. We have approximately six episodes left. So maybe they'll do these little three episode releases at a time. I don't know. Actually, let me real quick double see real quick. Nope.
Damn it.
One at a time from here on. July 15th, 22nd, 29th, August 5th.
No.
It ends August 12th. I would have liked 3 episode chunks, but that's because I wanted. But
Well, that's
Saturday
because
morning
Disney
cartoon
wants
style.
you to keep on.
So it's called, next one is Weapon X Lies and DVDs. So probably some 1997 stuff. Next one, Danger.exe. Next one, Strange Land Savage Art. We're going to try to get in the pterodactyl Savage. And then The Dead Man's Hand is number 8. And the final one, Survival of the Fittest. That's got to be the final confrontation with Apocalypse, because throughout this whole thing, he's been saying Survival of the Fittest. Yeah, great stuff. What do you think? Leave it in the comments down below. Have you seen it yet? If you haven't, go out and see it right now, guys. All right, we'll see you on the next video show. Bye, guys.
Fight is not done!
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This will be my full X-Men 97 Season 2 Episodes 1, 2, and 3 video. They dropped all 3 episodes on the first day, so we'll just do a single big video for all of them. There are a whole bunch of WTF moments, Easter eggs, references to the comics, so we will break it all down. Congratulations, everybody. You finally made it. We finally have new episodes. They even said Season 3 and Season 4 are on the way, too. Everybody at the same time shouting, "To me, my X-Men," as loud as you possibly can. I will be doing weekly videos for all the episodes. There'll be 9 episodes total instead of 10 like Season 1, so just big reminder about that. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get everything. The title of Episode 1 is Days of Past Future, which is a reference to X-Men Days of Future Past, both from the comics and the original X-Men animated series, which adapted Days of Future Past on the show. In the context of Season 2 now, it's a reference to Bishop and Forge in the 2 time periods, rescuing the X-Men from the past in the future. Generally, this season is meant to be all about Apocalypse's life, messing with his own timeline and trying to bring about the Age of Apocalypse in that distant future from the comics and from the original animated series. During the original series, it was the alternate future from the One Man's Worth episodes. That was the Age of Apocalypse from the comics. There are a couple times in the episodes, mostly in the intros and in the 4,000 years in the future timeline, where we're seeing the Age of Apocalypse. That is the original time period that Bishop comes from, which he references a couple times in the episodes. 5,000 years ago in the past, in ancient Egypt, to see the rise of Apocalypse, the first mutant. There are a lot of arguments about who the actual first mutant is in Marvel Comics because they've retconned it a couple times, but in the universe of the X-Men, the animated series, and X-Men 97, it's Apocalypse. And there's a lot of Doctor Who-style timey-wimey time travel going on this season, particularly with Kang the Conqueror. We'll talk about him in a second because he's in his Ramatut form in the past timeline right now. Apocalypse messed with time travel all the time on the original animated series. He was last seen in the Axis of Time, but they never confirmed that he died. Now this confirms that he did not, and we saw him in the post-credits scene for Season 1, so you already knew that Season 2 was going to be a big Apocalypse season. Jean Grey winds up doing the previously on X-Men